Lisa, you good? You getting pillow under your hip also, or?
No.
Good? Ankles?
Okay.
All right. Did you get that consideration on the video?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. That's good for them. So we're going to do some prone work. So open your manuals up, please. Just to get an idea of the technique section. I don't know what page it is. What 48. Thank you. Thank you. So we're just going to look at that. And we're going to do some movement for the back, of course, to encompass shoulder girdles and the larger muscles of the back. And also we're going to do some stimulation of the bladder meridian, that upper portion between the, just underneath the occipital ridge. And in this first segment we'll take it onto and including the sacrum. But then in the second segment that we do, it will address the lower part of the bladder meridian through the gluteals, hamstrings, calves, and foot. So just like sideline, very much gallbladder, so prone, very much bladder. So we're going to start with some loosening. So I'm just going to put myself in a central position. Breathe, feel for the spinous processes. And put the heel of my hand just lateral of the spinous process between the spine and the vertebral border of the scapula. And that's going to be a stationary hand, meaning it's going to stay here through the series of compressions. And those series of compressions is me working down the back and onto the sacrum. So and this is something you're going to have to all adjust according to your height, about how far or close you are to the body, because it makes a difference. Let me see in a second. So do that. Inhale, please. And exhale. Then I'm going to come up and I'm compressing but moving away from the spine so I can get the full support of the rib cage. And the adjustment I talked about increases or decreases this angle. So it not only affects the effectiveness of the compression, but also the pressure you're putting on your wrists. So the pressure is in but away also. So to try to decrease that angle, but also it maximizes the contact area of the palm of the hand into the back here, the longissimus primarily. So like that. So sorry. And exhale. So I'm rocking up on my knee so it maximizes the transfer of my body weight from back to forward. And in my body, I'm rocking back on the inhale and leaning forward and giving with the exhale. And in comparing or syncing your compression with the exhale, it allows you that extra second at the end of the compression to just linger a little bit. Because there's this pause right between our inhale and our exhale. So it's a natural rhythm, and if you bring that rhythm into your compressions a little bit, feel that the body recognizes that a little bit. Nice contact. So I do a couple times depending on what you're feeling with your compression. They feel a little like they benefit from a little bit more compression. You just lay it right on them. Okay. So nice, and now I'm just going to step across like this here. And take the arm and bend it back and rest it on my foot. So this position, one knee and one foot, gives me, I feel, optimal support and movement. So I can easily shift my weight to different parts and feel good about myself. Which is important, right?
It is.
You gotta love yourself.
Gotta love yourself.
I saw that on t-shirts. So I'm going to start with a little mobilization. So my outside hand, I'm going to cup the front of the shoulder. And by that I mean my hand is like a ledge, so I'm not curling my fingers into the tissue of the pecs, but nice, and it feels more supportive. And to get the mobilization, I'm just leaning back with an extended arm. So it's my body weight shifting back. And just, a few times just to loosen up the shoulder girdle. And then I'm going to add some contact along the vertebral border of the scapula, addressing the attachment of rhomboids, but also, well, that would be the outer bladder meridian. So, fingertips perhaps. So I'm placing then, mobilizing the shoulder onto the fingertips. Perhaps thumb, just working down to the distal angle. If this position doesn't provide enough workable space for you to go in around the vertebral border of the scapula, you could, if their arm permits you, bring their arm up a little bit like this, and you can stabilize the hand this way. So this opens this up a little bit more, and it allows you to do this. And if you could wait a little bit and go in with the music. So it's better, I think, for everybody to follow those notes in there. Yeah, so nice, I like this. Okay. So after mobilization, I'm going to switch hands and do a twisting compression. So one thing about this is, again, the heel of your hand is still just lateral of the spine, so you're right engaging the lamina groove. Right? But you're below or distal to the inferior angle of the scapula. So this doesn't incorporate the scapula, because you're always trying to coax this scapula this way, not trying to mash it so much when you're mobilizing it that way. So So it's a twisting compression. So you inhale, exhale, and you're just rotating. You're not pushing. It's just a contact move. So inhale, and it's like, and then exhale. And just easy onto the sacrum. And arm up. Come on over here. And repeat the same on the other side. Okay? So, one thing though, before we same to the other side, since you're here, we'll add a little bit more, just some specificity to start loosening up bladder meridian. So if you remember, like from the visual or else your familiarity with the bladder meridian, is that, again, palpating the spinous process as a landmark. So the bladder meridian splits in two up here at bladder 10, and then it opens up, and it basically, for our application needs, is